lifestyle changes.
Hello, Sunita Garu.
Sunita madam, unmute చేయండి.
Hello, Sudhakar Reddy garu. Am I audible?
You are audible, sir.
So there is problem with Sunita.
Sorry,
Unmute.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, please unmute yourself.
Some interrupted call I have to there, and let me continue. Lifestyle changes have compelled us so much that one has very little time to really think about healthy diet. So we need to know about the balanced diet at this context. Actually, food means anything which is eatable, actually, but the food which we eat should be a correct one and which we can select from a balanced diet. That balanced diet, when we have to choose, we have to depend on some food groups. Like we can go for a 5 basic food groups. In that, the first group is cereals and millets, and the second group is legumes and other related like nuts and oilseeds, which gives us more proteins, like even meat products also. The third one is like milk and milk products. Fourth one is fruits, and the next one is vegetables. We have categorized these foods into one group because these have similarities in few nutrients. So we have categorized. When we think about the balanced diet, we have to take with the representation of all the diets, all the foods which are present in each group. For example, if you take cereals and millets, they have commonly 60 to 65% of carbohydrates and 6 to 7% of the proteins and very little fat. Like that, each group has its significant similarities. So one has to take representation of foods from each group so that a balanced diet can be formed. Researchers also found, lot of researchers have found that eating too much or too little foods also causes a lot of health problems, especially chronic health diseases, and even these health problems will start from the prenatal periods also. Like for example, if the baby lies in the stomach of the womb of the lady, then if they have a folic acid deficiency, there will be problem in the baby who is born also. And even in the breast, it starts even from the breastfeeding also. Breastfeeding babies, there is so much importance of breastfeeding. Breastfeeding babies usually will have high immunity, and even developing of obesity and other dietary diseases also will be less when compared with the bottle-fed babies. That which also, this bottle-fed babies also has more prone to chronic dietary diseases. Even during childhood and adolescence also, if there is no proper balanced diet, then usually the children will get a lot of problems like anemia, obesity, like that. And even when you go to adulthood, there will be so many problems, especially when there is a dietary problems, unhealthy, when they take unhealthy foods like junk foods, processed foods, foods high in fat, calories, which leads ultimately to the chronic health diseases like obesity, cardiac problems, stroke, diabetes, cancer, osteoporosis, and so many like diseases. So if you take like example of obesity, eating of too much sugars and high fat content foods will lead to obesity. And even cardiac problems also, same, like eating too much of fat content, especially which are rich in cholesterol. Like now modernization has been happened, and so many people are taking a lot of fat foods and processed foods, which leads to the cardiac problems. And the stroke, next stroke, like degenerative change, neurological degenerative changes, that also will be the result ultimately to the high sugar content and high fat content in the foods. And even cancer also same. A lot of researchers have proved that high content of sugars and high content of fat in the diets will lead to the cancer. And osteoporosis, which is once upon a time, apparently it's related to only climate conditions like a very snow area like that. But now in even our country, India is also, majority of the people are facing osteoporosis problem because they are not, their diets are insufficient in calcium and vitamin D. These are the long-term dietary diseases and which are prone to bad food habits. And a balanced diet at this stage is very, very important. And in this balanced diet, few important points which we have to remember is we must include the foods like when you come to each group, like cereals and millets, which I have already told you. In that cereals and millets, better to avoid processed foods like refined flours. Let us use unprocessed foods, and millets give more importance to the millets because they are rich in fiber and they have their own significantly rich in, like for example, if you take ragi, it is rich in fiber as well as iron and calcium. Like each and every millet has its own food, its own dietary and nutrient content which are very good for health. So unprocessed cereals and millets is always good. When you come to the other group, which are high in proteins like legumes and nuts and oil seeds and meat products. In these meat products, better to avoid all high fat content foods like egg yolk, meats, and the prawns, and let us include legumes and pulses, which are good in proteins and also very less in fats. Next, coming to the dairy products like milk and milk products. Better not to include too much concentrated milk products like sweets, which are made up of with milk. Better to convert to only low fat milk products and low fat milk. And also in this group, it's always advisable to keep yogurt, in other words, curds, which is very good in probiotics, which will help in developing the immunity. The other group is fruits, which are also good in amount of vitamins and minerals, especially the vitamin C, which is very essential to develop the immunity and also for the absorption of calcium. So better to include at least 2 servings of the vitamin C fruits rich in vitamin C, like all citrus fruits like orange, Mosambi, pineapple, guava, etc. Better to limit the servings to as cereal, carbohydrate content rich fruits like banana, apple, custard apple, etc. And then coming to the vegetables part, it's always better to include more servings of the green leafy vegetables and other group of vegetables like all beans family vegetables, the gourds like a bitter gourd, ash gourd, that type of vegetables, instead of going for the roots and tubers, as example like a potato, yam, colocasia, which are very rich in carbohydrates when you compare with the other vegetables like green leafy vegetables or other vegetables. So better to include these type of vegetables, especially which are very rich in protein, minerals and vitamins, and also good amount of fiber, which also helps in developing the gut health, in maintaining the gut health. And then coming to the other very important aspect is, though it's not included in the diet portion, that is consumption of water. better always we have to keep hydrated ourselves. So minimum amount of at least 6 to 8 glasses of water per day is required for the metabolism, for the digestion, for the absorption and metabolisms of the products which we eat. So nowadays, so many people are going for the junk foods, especially processed foods, canned foods, frozen foods, which are not much advisable if we have to opt for any of these, especially during these pandemic periods, because of the unavailability of the, or maybe they are not available, like fresh fruits and vegetables. So scarcity may be observed in some of the areas. Better go for the frozen foods instead of going to the canned foods or processed foods. Better option. So to combat all these dietary related problems, the best solution is we have to encourage the health education about healthy food habits and healthy food and healthy eating habits, especially. And because of this, we may, and also the other part which I have to discuss, I want to discuss is about exercise. Minimum physical activity, at least 30 minutes per day is very essential for the maintenance of the health. And this I just want to share with you. And I think I briefed about everything. Thank you.
Dr. Sandhya?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful words. Now I hand over the mic to Dr. Vanaja to take over the session.
Thank you, Dr. Sandhya. Thank you so much. Now I welcome our today's second eminent speaker, Professor Archana Madam, Government Ayurvedic College, Nagpur, Maharashtra. She did OAMS, MD and PhD. Professor Archana Madam, working as a professor, head of the Department of Kumar Bharatiya Government Ayurvedic College, Nagpur, Maharashtra. Total completed 15 years in teaching field. Worked in private Panchakarma Hospital in Nagpur during out of hours. She gave several radio talks on All India Radio and participated in Doordarshan programs, published articles in newspapers and magazines, and also delivered expert lectures in different organizations. She participated many workshops, seminars and conferences all over India. Now I request Professor Archana Madam to speak on the topic Ayurvedic approach towards food habits. Now floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everybody. Present in the international webinar on healthy food habits before and during pandemic organized by WCOP. At the outset, I am very much thankful to the organizing committee, ECNCC members of World Congress of Psychologists, especially Professor B.G. Reddy sir, for giving me opportunity to share my thoughts on healthy food habits on this platform. I am very glad to see the motto of this workshop is to train yourself and train others. I think this is the real need of this pandemic era. Everybody is under stress and psychologically disturbed, which is directly impacting our immunity. So to overcome all these, we have to follow good healthy food eating habits to boost our immunity.
Yeah, madam,
Sir?
1 minute. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Madam, please unmute your video and audio so that this is the recording and you will be sending to uploading to YouTube, please.
Okay. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, yeah, audible, madam. Please go ahead.
Okay. I will share my screen of presentation. So screen sharing, Sir, my screen is visible.
It is not visible, but your voice is visible, audible, madam. Go ahead, madam.
Okay, okay. So, as we all know, in this pandemic era, as there is no sure medicine for this disease and not sure vaccine to prevent the disease, the vaccine is only for the purpose of getting less if hazards of the disease. So, and the disease is very highly communicable and fatal. So we are worried about our immunity and searching various measures to improve our immunity. My topic basically, previously I had been asked to speak on the Ayurvedic aspect of food habits. So my PPT will slightly differ with the subject. Sorry for that. So there are certain tips I'm going to give you to boost your immunity. As we all know, Ayurveda is an ancient science which is the science of life and aims at the swasthya se swasthya rakshan, that is maintain health of healthy person. And also the second aim of Ayurveda is aturasya vikara prashamanam, that is to treat the disease of a deceased person. Ayurveda is based on Tridosha Siddhanta and our body is made up of Vata, Pitta, Kapha. You must be knowing these things. If they remain in equilibrium, we are healthy, and if the equilibrium is disturbed, the person becomes sick. So we have to maintain our health to keep our body in equilibrium. When this equilibrium is not there, we said that the person is sick, and this depends upon the immunity of that person, whether he will go with the conditions in the nature, or he will fight out against the microorganisms which are troubling him. So Ayurveda defines Vyadik Kshamatva as immunity. Vyadhi, that means disease, and Kshamatva means ability to overcome. That means Vyadik Kshamatva can be defined as body's ability to fight any disease, and this immunity, that is Vyadhi Bala Virodhitvam, that means reducing the strength of already manifested disease. What is Vyadik Kshamatva? It is reducing the strength of the already manifested disease, or Vyadhi Utpada Pratibandhakatvam, that is prevention of the unmanifested disease, that is immunity. So Ayurveda definitely has an answer to boost our immunity. First of all, we will see the definition of a healthy person according to Ayurveda. Ayurveda says in healthy person, all three doshas, that is Vata, Pitta and Kapha, are in equilibrium. The Agni, that is the digestive power or digestive fire, which is of 13 types. If it is in equilibrium, then only we are said to be healthy. All the dhatus, that means Rasa, Rakta, Mamsa, Meda, Asthi, Majja, Shukra, the 7 elements of the body, if they are in equilibrium, we are supposed to be healthy. If our excretory systems, that is passing of stool, urine and sweat, if these systems are working well, then we are said to be healthy. Along with these all things, if our mana, that is mind, all sense organs and our atma is happy, then the happy state of atma, mana and sense organs is one of the sign of a healthy person. Because if we are not happy or healthy minded, then there are chances of getting psychosomatic disorders. So healthy person should have all three doshas, digestive power and all body elements in equilibrium, along with prasanna atma, mana and all the indriyas. So what do you mean by a sick person? A sick person is a person in which all these body elements or the Agni are not in equilibrium. Then we can say that person is sick. Roga sarvepi mandegno. What is this Agni? This Agni is digestive fire, which is essential to convert whatever we eat into the required body elements. Our cellular activities are influenced by Agni. There are 13 types of Agni, Panchamahabhutagni, Saptadhattvagni and Jathoragni, which take part in process of digestion, assimilation and absorption. If the Agni is in equilibrium, one can live healthy and happy, healthy and long life. If we want to be healthy, Ayurveda says that there are 3 basic pillars of life: Trayopastambha, food, that is ahar; Nidra, that is sleep; and Brahmacharya. If one takes healthy nutritious diet, he remains healthy. If if the person sleeps for 7 to 8 hours sound sleep, he get energized and he remains healthy. And brahmacharya, that means if he follows a disciplined life, he remains healthy. These are the three basic pillars of life. Then basically we will see about the uh, food or the food habits which are influencing our health. Ayurveda had described Shadvida Ahar, that is the food which we can drink, lick, eatable or chewable. These are the foods which we can take according to our Agni, that means digestive power. The seeping food is more heavy than drinkable, more light than the drinkables. And likewise, these Shadavida Ahar is mentioned light to heavy to digest. Then we will see that the Ayurveda has again mentioned that Nityam Sarvarasabhyam. That means our daily diet should contain all the 6 tastes. Which are these 6 tastes? Sweet, sour, salty, spicy, bitter, and astringent. That means our food should contain each taste every day. Why this is the need? Because we know there are 3 doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha in our body, and these Vata, Pitta, Kapha are increased due to these taste food. The Vata is increased by eating spicy, bitter, and astringent food. Similarly, the person who is having Vata disorder should eat sweet, sour, and salty food. The person who is suffering from Pitta disorder should eat bitter, astringent, and sweet food, and he should avoid sour, salty, and spicy food. The person suffering from Kapha disorders should eat spicy, bitter, and astringent food, and the Kapha disorders will be exaggerated due to eating of sweet, sour, and salty food. So one should follow this regime if he is sufferer from the disease. Secret of healthy mind and body lies in healthy food. Why? Because role of mind is very important for the healthy food. Psychologically, happy, stable person is more healthy. So we can say food directly impacts on our mind or side. So we should eat healthy, and we should be healthy by eating healthy food. What are the eating habits we should follow as per Ayurveda? We should eat hot uh, on daily basis. Eating very fast or very slow should be avoided. Before eating, hands, feet, and mouth should be washed because it stimulates our nerves, which are helping in digestion process. Clean food, clean utensils, and clean environment should be maintained while eating. After bathing only we should consume our food. When we are hungry, after giving food to our guests, children, old people, and pets, one should consume food. Why? Because it will to our elders and our children, and now with the satisfaction we are going to eat, so definitely we will be happy while eating, and it will be helpful for digestion of easy digestion of the food. We should not criticize eatables. We should eat whatever we like, but we should not criticize the eatables. While eating, no talking, no TV, no mobile watching. Food should not be too liquid. You should eat daily moong, red rice, grita, milk, honey, raisins, pomegranate, sandav, amla, or hirda. Daily at night, one should consume triphala with honey and grita for better eye health. Daily consumption of milk and grita or chavanprash is rejuvenating. So these are certain food habits which we can follow. One can ask when to take food. So ubhayo kalo prata sayam cha. According to circadian cycle, we can say that our body temperature is maximum around 5 to 6 o'clock in the evening, and minimum between 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning. from 9 o'clock up to 12 o'clock, the body metabolism is at the high peak level. So timely eating should be preferred. And according to circadian cycle, the morning food should be eaten or taken between 9 to 12. Depending on dosha and kala, one should take food in both kalas. That is, we should eat twice a day. Whenever you feel hungry, you can take food after complete digestion of previous food. That means when we after evacuation of fecal matter and excretion of urine and feeling fresh and light, we can consume if we are hungry. So what not to eat now? We will see what not to eat. Do not reheat the food. We are having the habit of reheating the food, but it is not recommended by Ayurveda. Very hot or very spicy or very salty food should always be avoided. Unhygienic food should always be avoided. Daily consumption of curd, sprouts, meat, fish, green leafy vegetables and dried vegetables should be avoided as per Ayurvedic classic. Heavy to digest, and daily heavy digestion, heavy food ingestion will definitely hamper heavy food. Eating of this food can be helping you are hungry and do not eat. Digestive fire decreases and it digests our body doshas, dhatus, and ultimately our prana. That means by not even you are hungry, death can occur. So then how to
Madam, you are not audible. Seems some network problem. Archana, madam, not audible.
Madam, Professor Archana, madam. Hello. Madam, Professor Archana, madam. Ashok.
Sir,
Yeah,
some
find out from madam, because our topic I think might also.
it is complete. It seems to be completed, madam, sir.
Yeah, then
We can go ahead, sir. You can go
yeah.
ahead. Whenever she joins, we can say thanks.
Okay, fine. Dr. Vanaja,
Yes, sir.
yeah, you just go to third speaker, please.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor Anupama, madam, for your wonderful and insightful talk, madam. Now, I welcome our today's third eminent speaker, Dr. A. Sudhakar Reddy Garu, MBBS, DNB Neurosurgery, MSc Psychology. Professor Sudhakar Reddy did MBBS in SV Medical College, studied PG course DNB Neurosurgery at Madras Institute of Neurology, Government General Hospital, Chennai. Senior resident in neurosurgery in NIMS, Hyderabad. And also under AP government service, assistant neurosurgeon at Guntur Medical College in Guntur. Neurosurgeon SV Medical College in Tirupati. Given lectures in Superannuated Psychologist Society of India in the year 2020. Professor Reddy did MSc Psychology in Director of Distance Education, Sri Venkateshwara University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh. Professor Sudhakar Reddy, sir, is going to talk on food habits in South India, a scientific approach. Sir, now floor is yours.
Professor Sudhakar Reddy garu,
Sir, am I audible?
you are audible. Just open, unmute video, audio so that you can be seen on the screen, sir.
Okay.
Wonderful. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Respected Professor B.J. Reddy garu, President of World Congress of Psychologists, and Professor Subhashini Madam, Secretary, WCOP, and Professor Suresh, Treasurer of WCOP, and all EC members and EC members and all the participants. Today I want to share my experiences regarding these food habits. In last pandemic, everybody concentrated on food habits because everybody is afraid of coronavirus, and there was no medicine to kill the virus. So at that time there was no vaccine also. So the only option is to have good immunity. What is the way to get this immunity? That is, people have realized only food habits, nutritious food alone is the answer. And they have tried so many ways of eating food, and they have taken a lot of non-vegetarian food, and also whatever they like, they wanted to improve their nutrition. But scientifically, National Institute of Nutrition, Hyderabad, they have studied different food habits in India, different states. And ultimately, they have concluded in South India, the Brahmin house, the food habits are the highly scientific and correct. These food habits have come from many years in our Hindu culture. And Sunita Madam has told beautifully about nutritious value of different foods. And Archana Madam beautifully said about the Ayurvedic approach towards this nutritious diet. And now I want to share practically how to achieve this nutritious diet. Normally, our food should contain carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and vitamins, minerals, and trace elements. And of course, sufficient water. Now, these are the basic things every day we should have in our food. Now, these things are available in what we are NIN Hyderabad has said about the South India Brahmin family. They are following it, though they don't know that it is a scientific approach. First, as Archana Madam said beautifully, you must take bath before taking food. It improves your digestive fire, and you will have hunger and you will eat food well. So please remember, you must take bath before taking food. Second thing is, sitting on the floor and eating is the best habit, because by sitting on the floor, your blood circulation from the calf muscles of both feet, both legs, will go to the heart, and blood circulation to the stomach will increase. By sitting in the table meals, the legs, from the legs, they will be pooling out the blood in the legs. It will not be circulated sufficiently to the stomach. So sitting on the floor and eating is the best way. And the stomach capacity also increases, blood circulation to the stomach increases. And then, as Archana Madam said, you must have happy mood, happy mind. We always should eat with a happy mind. Very, very important. And most important, while taking food, you must maintain silence, mauna, and concentrate all your mind on the food and respect the food. Whatever it may be, as Archana Madam said, don't criticize the food. Very, very important. You respect the food God has given you. Pray to God for giving this food today. And love the food wholeheartedly. And all that food will be consumed by you, and it will be absorbed by you. If you hate the food, though you eat it, it will not be absorbed to you completely. So loving the food completely and keeping all your mind on the food without thinking of anything else, no discussion, silent, and no talking, no laughter while taking food. I remember one famous doctor yesterday, B.C. Roy. On his birthday, we have celebrated yesterday the Doctor's Day, National Doctor's Day. And he was a very good surgeon, and he became the chief minister for 15 years in Calcutta. And he was the personal doctor of the Nehru. Excellent person. On one Sunday, he was taking food and he was talking to his friends in his house only. And there was big laughter. At that time, he was taking chicken. Chicken bone has gone into his trachea, that is the windpipe. And they were choking. And within 5 minutes, he fell down, and next 5 minutes he died in the house only. There was no time to shift him to the hospital also. Such a great doctor, simple mistake of talking loudly and laughter while taking food on Sunday afternoon, that is the chicken, and the chicken bone has blocked his trachea, that is windpipe, and choking, and there was no time to save him in the house. So please remember that talking and laughter will kill you while taking food. Then one more example, my friend, famous neurosurgeon from Chandigarh, when on party, he was taking a party, they were talking laughter, one fish bone has gone inside the trachea, and there was bronchospasm, choking, and he died in the party itself. He could not be shifted to the hospital also. He was a famous neurosurgeon. And then my own grandfather, my father's father, at the age of 61, he had fever, and my grandmother was giving him food, and we don't know what happened. Ultimately, they were choking, and he died on the spot, my grandfather. So don't take lightly this choking while taking food. It can happen by laughter or big talking and emotional disturbances. So please, you have to avoid talking and laughter while taking food. And other most important thing is taking water. Please don't drink too much of water while taking food, because these water will make the acidity, acid in the stomach more alkaline. Alkaline gastric juice will not digest the food. That is why the advice is not to take more water while eating food. You can take some sips of water. At the end of the food also, you can take some sips of water, but you should not drink more water. After 45 minutes, then you can take more water as you like. So these small things will help go a long way. And other important thing is, most important is, after the food, the order of the food also very important. And that we have been following in our Indian culture. First, we take some chutney or the avocado chutney, and then ghee and rice. This will stimulate the gastric juice production in the stomach. After that, we take dal, rice, and dal, ghee, rice, which contains carbohydrates, fats, proteins. Then all the vegetables will contain all the minerals, and vitamins and minerals and trace elements. And after that, we take sambar and also then rasam, which will make the intestines move. So that is very important. After that, we take curd. Last item is curd, because the curd or buttermilk will stimulate the one center in the hypothalamus in the brain, that is satiety center. Satiety means satisfaction. Once you take the curd, it will stimulate the satiety center in the hypothalamus of the. Hello?
You are audible.
Sir.
Please.
So after curd, we should not take anything else, because all the sections will be stopped. From the saliva to the gastric juice, everything will be stopped. By
Sir, unmute yourself.
Sir, I had a phone call, interrupted.
Okay, no problem.
So please remember, after taking buttermilk and the curd, last item, we should stop eating. And in Ayurveda, they say you can take a payasam or some jaggery as the last item because it will give energy for the stomach to digest the food. So that's what I heard from Ayurveda. That we can take. And last item is pan or killi. This is very important. It has got so many nutrients and it will form a layer from mouth to esophagus to stomach that protects from the infection or bacteria. So that is also very, very important. After the food, you can take killi or the pan. In routine marriages, no marriage will be over without a killi. So other important thing is, as Archana madam said, digestive fire is important and all food should be digested. Undigested food acts like a ama. That is, undigested food is ama, which will become like a poison to you. So if you eat more and if you cannot digest to half, that undigested food will become like ama and then it will become like a poison to you. So please don't eat more. They say that is mitahara and madhurahara. Your ahara should be mitam, limited, and it should be tasty. Rachana madam said all 6 tastes you should enjoy every day. Then your saptadhatus will be perfect. So we have to take limited food with all nutrients, and you should be able to digest it completely. Once you have digested completely only, then you can go for the next meals. And the most important thing is, even if you take food on the right time, unless you have hunger, please don't eat. You can take 1 more hour time. Once you have hunger only, then only you should eat. And the same thing with the thirst. If you are thirsty, take water. If you are hungry, take food. Same way emotions, if you are angry, please shout at others. And if you are very, very sorrowful, please weep. If you are laughter, please laugh loudly. Don't control your emotions, they should be let out. Otherwise, you will have the BP, sugar, heart attack, so many things. Same way, here, after taking food, you must walk for 20 minutes, either morning or afternoon or evening. That 20 minutes time walking, you will have very good blood supply to the stomach, and your food will be digested completely. And don't sleep immediately after taking food. You must walk for 20 minutes, 3 times a day. And then while taking food, you must maintain very good silence and happy mood, which is very important. And you should eat food among your loved ones in the family. That's also very important. Ultimately, the food habits, all of you know from Dr. Sunita and Archana madam. And I wanted to tell you how you take the food and how you plan your food, your emotions, your happy mood, and what you should take first and what you should take next. Now, suppose if you take more food in a function, in a marriage function, evening at 8 p.m., you have taken more food because it's very tasty and so many items. You can take no problem. But please avoid taking breakfast the next day. By next day afternoon, your stomach will be ready by digesting all that food. So please don't forget fasting after taking heavy food in any function. Next day, if you fast, and your stomach will be all right. That's what a very important thing. Then, most important, taking water for metabolism is very, very important. And after taking food, after 45 minutes, 1 hour, you can take more water. And every 1 hour or 2 hours, please taking some sips of water. Because after food, water is very, very important. Our body, 70% is only water only. So please don't forget to take water, which is basically important for metabolism. And Archana madam said about sunlight and heat, digestive fire, and very, very important. You can take more food at midday because there is heat from sun and your digestive file will be increased and you can digest anything. Morning also you can take. Evening you should take less diet, and night you must take a very minimum diet or just finish it with only milk. And by morning you will have very good digestive power. And I want to tell you about the tea and coffee and cool drinks and ice creams. Actually, this habit of tea and coffee came to us from Britishers, and there was no tea and coffee before 200 years ago in India. And after British rule, and for their business, they have encouraged us and tea and coffee. Coffee is more dangerous than tea because it stimulates the brain, and ultimately, again, it forms an addiction. It asks you to take more coffee again like that. So coffee also is an addiction like alcohol, and tea also is an addiction. Both of them will reduce your appetite, which is God-given natural appetite, will be disturbed and reduced by taking tea or coffee. Coffee is more compared to tea. And there was one study on bed coffee. So many people are habituated to bed coffee in India also now. It was there in Western countries. So by bed coffee, what happens is this empty stomach will be there, and this coffee will go and irritate the stomach wall. And in the young age, nothing will happen. In old age, some people had cancer in the stomach because of bed coffee. So please don't forget about the bad effects of bed coffee. You may get cancer after 60 or 65 years of age. And your appetite also comes down. So you should take less amount of tea or coffee. You can take after breakfast and evening also after some tiffin. Never take tea or coffee in the empty stomach. It will definitely harm you in course of time. After taking some food, you can take tea or coffee. And cool drinks. Don't take cool drinks after taking food in the afternoon or even night also, because the digestive fire will be reduced by taking the cool drinks or ice creams after taking food. Please remember, avoid these things after taking food. So you have to avoid all the cool water also. Ice water you should avoid after food also. Ice water, cool drinks and ice creams you should not take after taking food. So these small things should go a long way to digest your food and give you energy, resistance power and immunity. And in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Yuktahara Vihara, Yukta Chestasya Karmasu, Yukta Swapnavabodhasya, Yogo Bhavati Bharata. The meaning is, Yukta means what is appropriate to you, what is good for you. Ahara, our whole life depends upon these four. Your ahara and vihara, where you are moving about. Now in this corona time, please don't come out of the house unless it is very important. Same thing was told by Lord Krishna long ago. So ahara, vihara, going about, moving around. Yukta chestasya, your activities should be very controlled, necessary. Don't do unnecessary activities, adharma activities. Do always dharmic activities, because the results will be good. Yuktahar vihara, yukta chestasya karmasu. Karma means activities. Then yukta swapnavabodhasya. Even your dreams also, you should get always the present dreams, not very ghastly, terrifying, fearful dreams. That also gives you unhealth. So yukta swapnavabodhasya. Your dreams also should be present and you should enjoy them. And if you get up also, you should feel happy. So that is a healthy sign. And then if you have all these four, Yogo Bhavati, you are a yogi, Bharata. It's what Lord Krishna told Arjuna. So actually, the Bhagavad Gita, same Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, all creatures on earth, they are living by Anna. Anna means food. every creature has got its own food. So this Anna Bhavanti Bhutani, from food only, all the creatures, including human beings, are surviving. So you should take food, what is appropriate to you. By God's grace, even the cows or animals, they are very wise in taking their food. They smell the food, even cow. It will never take a non-vegetarian. It will never take which is not good for her, which is spoiled also. A cow will not take it. So every creature has got some sense what to eat, what not to eat. Only human beings have lost their sense of what is good or bad. They are enjoying the taste. Even if it harms them also. Once they are going for the taste, so they are spoiling their health. So we should avoid Western countries' food, the junk foods, pizzas, burgers, all the frozen, processed foods, frozen foods, are all dangerous to our health. So for the taste sake, don't go for the Western food. And just like other creatures, you are already wise, but just for sake of taste, you have a non-vegetarian diet. A non-vegetarian diet, one thing actually, our system, our digestive system, is exactly like a cow. Cow has got what? Cow has got the stomach, intestines, large intestine, everything. We are having the same system. That means we are all vegetarians by birth. But because of the taste, we want to enjoy the taste, we have become non-vegetarians. Once you have tasted the non-vegetarian food, for the sake of taste, we have having the habit of taking non-vegetarian diet. Okay, if you take it in limited quantity, weekly once on Sundays, or nothing will happen to you. But some people I have observed, they take non-vegetarian diet 3 times a day, every day, throughout a year. And some study was conducted on them. Most of them, they had hypercholesterolemia and also heart attacks, and they had cancer in the colon, and also constipation. These 3 problems for non-vegetarian diet. So let us be wise and discriminate. Non-vegetarian diet is something dangerous. And in America, I heard many of them have stopped non-vegetarian because of their bad habits. So let us be wise and avoid non-vegetarian. Archana Madam also said what not to eat. She said non-vegetarian is one of the items. So the message in my talk is, we are all surviving because of food only. Lord Krishna said, that food we should take wisely, orderly, timely, and in proper method, in proper order. And we should know what we should not take. We should not take non-vegetarian, excessive non-vegetarian. Some non-vegetarian, nothing will harm you. And particularly the cool drinks, cool water, and then all the beverages, and avoid alcohol, tea and excessive tea and coffee. Small one cup a day, nothing will harm you. Like that, we should be wise enough in these food habits. Then definitely our immunity will increase, and we should enjoy our life with good health and happy mind, and we will live for 100 years with good health. So thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you so much, Dr. Sudhakar Reddy, sir, for your wonderful and insightful talk on food habits in South India, a scientific approach. What I am taking from your talk is, sir, if you are going for taste, you are spoiling your health.
Yes.
Really, you covered many things, sir, many things. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I am handovering the mic to Dr. B.G. Reddy garu.
Yes, Sudhakar Reddy garu, I'm really congratulating you for the
Thank
3
you, sir.
speakers, and especially special thanks because you have narrated us what to eat and what not to eat.
Yes, yes.
All these days we were also doing some kind of mistakes. After listening to you, we too have developed a kind of apprehensions whether to take, what to take, or what not to take. This is we have learned so much today. Sir, 2
Yes.
questions from me first.
Yeah.
You said non-vegetarian harms a lot.
Yes.
See, as a doctor,
Yes.
of course, as a psychologist, can you quote one example whether the non-vegetarian food, many people, they used to keep in the deep freeze. And
yes.
later they used to eat.
Yes.
That is, what would be the disadvantage? You just one question. Next, coming to the second question, what
Mm.
made Indians to switch over to modern foods?
Oh, good question.
This is
Yeah.
second question. So
Yeah.
these two questions, kindly explain.
Sure. I'm glad you asked beautiful questions. First question is, keeping in the fridge chicken or mutton eating after 3 days or 4 days, sometimes it becomes food poisoning and people will die also. In my experience, my neighbor's house, there was one worker, fourth class employee, and he was given mutton biryani, which was stored in the food for 4 days. And evening he ate that food. Next day morning he died.
Oh my
I
God.
wondered. Yeah, I wondered. I couldn't understand. As a doctor, I don't know why he died. Ultimately, discussed with my professors, colleagues, everything, and microbiologists. They said, sir, some food poisons are very dangerous. They'll kill you within 12 hours. No time to shift him to the hospital also like that. So keeping in the fridge for more days, a non-vegetarian diet, we will have food poisoning. Some food poisonings will kill you within 6 hours or 10 hours. There are so many types of food poisoning. So that is why, and also I heard sometimes it came in papers in Nellore, some hotels, they keep this non-vegetarian chicken or mutton in the fridge for 7 days or 8 days. And then they bring it out and then fry it and they give it to the people. And since people had diarrhea and like that, and that food specialist came and then they have sealed that hospital also. So don't believe the non-vegetarian diet in the hotels. Such things can happen in any hotel. And second thing, keeping in the fridge, you may get food poisoning, particularly non-vegetarian. Please don't keep it for a long time and then eat. So and then second question is, why our Indians, we are very good with the rich culture, Hinduism culture. We are adopting the Western way of food habits because this was a question in my mind since 10 years. I have discussed with my colleagues and also my seniors. They told me only one thing. It is only because of they want to enjoy the taste of Western type of food like pizzas and also so many things, beverages and cool drinks, ice creams and burgers, so many which are made up of maida. All these things we are supposed to eat. Even non-vegetarian we are eating for sake of taste only. So all these things, bad habits came to us just we want to enjoy the taste. So if you avoid that, control that your tongue, you can avoid all these things. I can lead a healthy life throughout 100 years without any disease to you. So that is Bijay sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, anybody from audience, particularly our senior professor Krishnamurthy sir is with us.
You are in the
Okay,
habit
sir.
of calling me,
Yeah,
so I'll respond to it, sir.
yeah. Good.
Thank you very much. I had a very good, we had a very good session from 3 speakers, Dr. Sudhakar Reddy, Professor Rachna Madam, and also dietitian from the SE Medical College. So what I have observed is, this is the statement that we hear in Kannada. I'll translate it. ಊಟ ಬಲ್ಲವನಿಗೆ ರೋಗವಿಲ್ಲ, ಮಾತು ಬಲ್ಲವನಿಗೆ ಜಗಳವಿಲ್ಲ. That means one who knows what to eat and how much to eat and all that will be healthy. He will not develop disease. And one who speaks when to speak, what to speak and so on, also will not have any conflicts with others. So that is a statement which I wanted to share. So in Ayurveda, we have, or in the Indian system, we have what we call as Sattvic Ahar, Rajasic Ahar, and then Tamasic food. So based on the way it is prepared and digested, it has been classified, and we are encouraged to take more of Sattvic Ahar than the rest. So one who wants to be robust, fight everything, he should have Rajasic food. And the one who is do very hard work and all that, he should have the other type of food, solid food and so on. So what we know is food leads to metabolic activity. When metabolic activity is proper, the health will be maintained. Immune system will be functioning at the optimum level. When there is some imbalance, as the three doshas and other things that we have come to know, we know that imbalances in the metabolic is major reason for many of the lifestyle diseases, the diabetes or heart diseases and other cancer, whatever it is. So what we call as lifestyle diseases. So all these are because of the major eating habit that we develop. So why we are eating too much of this junk food and other things? In my view, we are very good imitators. We follow others easily. So we idealize, we identify with the things that are presented in a grandeur way, and we also follow it up. So with this, I think it is very pleasant thing to share and also listen to the speakers who have enlightened us. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sudhakar Reddy garu, one more question from me.
What is that?
See, is there any just idea if nowadays, modern days, but when we were children, we used to sit, as you said, sitting on the floor, we used to sit. And
Yeah.
now the modern system and equipped with so many rooms and dining, this, that. And is there any just a difference? If we sit on the before the dining table, can we eat more or can we eat less? Or by sitting on the floor, can we eat more or can we eat? You said very good blood circulation when we sat and eating by sitting on the floor.
Yes.
But my question is, when we sit on the floor, or when the who will consume more food? Is there any just
Good question, sir. It is proved. They have done some research also on this. You definitely eat less when you sit on the floor and eat, and definitely eat more if you take food on the dining table.
oh
And that is proved. So we have advantages of circulation to blood circulation to stomach increases, and also you take the food comfortably, and you take definitely less food while sitting on the floor. So because of the advantages, in so many years, thousands of years in India, we have the habit of sitting on the floor and eating only. You take Ramayana, no incident of any dining table meals in throughout Ramayana. And Mahabharatam also, there was no incident of any table meals throughout Mahabharatam, always eating on the floor. Because it is the best by all means. There may be so many other advantages which we don't know really. We know only these three advantages. So let us follow that habit. If really, even at this point of time in our life also, if you habituate ourselves to sit on the floor and eat, it will be beneficial to us. Thank you, sir.
yeah. And one more question. Because today's topic is quite interesting one, and of course there are people they can also pose questions. My question is, you see, is there any psychology just related to eating of food and maintaining of stylish body? You see, for example, one of the ladies working in our university. Say she was also so nice, slim also, and they used to pass on comment also. Both husband and wife, they are like made for each other, and they are like cinema actors. Like that, people used to just floated their own just ideas, perceptions like that. So ultimately, subsequently, that woman at the age of even 50s. Even if at all she comes to the university also, she doesn't go to the just attached toilets existing in the university buildings. She doesn't like it. She hate just going to use those toilets, and moreover, and she will not take the university water also, and she will not bring down any kind of water bottle or something along with her. And in the morning, she used to take only 2 idlis.
Hmm.
She will not take sufficient water also. Subsequently, after a long time, one fine day, she lost 2 kidneys, sir.
Ayo.
So, yeah, what would be the psychology?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is a very good question. This is not a new fact. It's an already established fact that some women, they are more beauty conscious and bodies should be slim. And for that, they purposefully they avoid taking food and they become weak also. In our textbook of medicine, we have shown the one picture also that lady has become very like a skeleton. Only bones are seen. And that is called one term anorexia nervosa. Anorexia nervosa. That means she is afraid of becoming fatty. So she purposefully avoids taking food, normal food, for normal activities also. So because of metabolism, she will have more catabolism compared to anabolism. She will be using body weight every day, and she becomes like a skeleton. So that is one psychological factor. Apart from that, these days I will be hearing dieting because they want to reduce the body weight. They want to diet. I am on diet, they say. So this is actually I consulted Ayurvedic process also. This is unnatural and definitely leads to disease in the body. You should never diet. Take food, do work, exercise, and consume all the calories in the body by working, not by dieting. So general population also should understand this. They should never diet, take sufficient food and work sufficiently, and they will be balanced and you will never become fat. So this is the second point. And some people only, as you said, will have that kind of feeling that I will become fatty, and they will have anorexia nervosa, and they strictly, purposefully avoid taking normal food, and they become like a skeleton. Anorexia nervosa. Thank you, sir.
And one more question. See, I observed many sugar patients.
Oh.
Particularly, along with my university professors, I know he's a sugar patient and she is also sugar patient. She is all the time, they were habituated to take tablets also. But at the same time, we being we will be a little bit cautious. We will avoid all sweets. There are 3 to 4 types of sweets they used to place on the table at the time of any function. But here, these sugar patients, what I observed, and we used to avoid, but they are forced to take more instead of 4 items, 4 types of items, instead of 4 items, they used to take double items. They used to eat. What is the psychology behind it? I am not able to understand. Will you please tell me as a doctor?
Yeah, many patients came to me also, the sugar patients. Actually, previously, about 30 years ago, sugar doctors used to tell all over the world, please avoid sweets, avoid fruits, and all those things. Now, the recent study, they have realized that is wrong. Sugar patients should eat everything what normal people are eating, but they should take very minimum quantity. Sugar patient can take sweets, can take laddu, jalebi, but very minimum quantity. And all the things, all fruits he can eat. Then only he can maintain normal balanced weight. And most important thing is, when we eat 3 times a day, they should eat 6 times a day by taking small amounts of rice, small amounts. Because by that, once it's digested, then you can go for the next item. Like 6 times a day, sugar patients should eat. And they take all items, sweets, all the fruits, everything, but very small quantity. Then there will not be increase in sugars in the body. And some very important thing is they must take insulin, because the sugar disease is type 1, type 2, the decrease in production of insulin. Once most of the patients, it is the type 1, and type 2 is in periphery in the cells, there will not be utilization of sugar in the cells. By walking and exercise, that problem will be solved. And by taking insulin, this problem will be solved. And once you go to diabetologist and he suggests you take insulin, many patients are afraid that will I take it for lifetime? Then we have to convince them that it is necessary. If you take insulin for lifetime, you will lead a normal life like others for 100 years. If you don't take it insulin, you will become emaciated, weak, and your quality of life will come down. So you should convince them, take insulin and take everything with a small quantity, then he will have a normal life, energetic life.
Right, sir. So kind of you. Thank you. Now, any questions or contributions from participant side, please?
BG
Sanjeev
sir, I
Kumar?
want to share one view on this question which we have asked.
Please.
Hello, BG sir, Dr. Archana.
Yeah,
Okay,
madam
okay.
is there.
Sir, the question. Yeah,
Archana madam, please.
sir,
Yes, madam. Unmute yourself. Madam.
Ayurveda consider diabetes as a Vatic disorder because of the enhancement of increased Vata dosha in our body. We suffer from the diabetes.
Okay.
And the diet advised to a diabetic person is less intake of sugar or less intake of ghee and all the things. He has been asked for burning his calorie values and doing more exercise to burn the calories. But according to Ayurveda, diabetes is a Vata disorder. So Santarpan, the patient should ask to eat the thing which decreases the Vata in our body. That means Snehana, that means oleation is needed over there. So one should eat the ghee or little bit ghee, otherwise his joints will give an answer. So basically, Vata decreasing rasas means the patient should take Madhur Amla Lavana Rasa to reduce the Vata Prakopa in his body.
Okay.
So that he can get controlled sugar. Otherwise, taking the bitter and sour food will increase Vata in his body and the disease will progress.
Oh, good, madam. I understand, madam. Your approach is very scientific. One thing you have to understand, Ayurvedic principles are all highly scientific, madam. We have to understand them in a scientific way. As you said, Vata and that dosha, if you correct it, and definitely the metabolism also will be corrected. That Vata Kapha Pitta, your Tridosha, you have got your own approach. If you correct that Vata dosha, and definitely the metabolism will be increased. And sugar patient, if you take everything in a small quantity, will be digested. And other important factor which we have found by research is, if you avoid, we should not eat that, we should not eat this like that, after some days, your stomach will lose the capacity of digestion of anything. So the recent concept I heard from the researchers, you should take your food like a dustbin into your stomach. Then everything will be all right. I think this is what I heard, and your Ayurveda also should do some research on this. And as you said, the Vata dosha should be corrected. Then if they take these things, will be digested properly. Thank you, Archana madam.
Because our body is made up from the ahara, what the food we eat.
Yes.
We are.
Yes.
So our body is made up of food, Panchabhutik diet we take, and our body is also made up of Panchamahabhuta.
Yes, madam.
Yes. In Ayurveda, one quotation is there, means body can, so one should take food in proper quantity, and compatible food should be eaten in proper quantity. Definitely helps to increase our intellect, complexion of the body. It
Hmm.
satisfies mind and increases the body immunity as well. So
Yes.
one should take properly
Hmm.
and inculcate the habit of good food habits
Hmm.
for
You are right, madam.
for
As you said, madam.
Sir, one small
our
question, sir.
immunity.
Archana madam, my answer is, as you said, every body is different from other body, and quantity of which you should take, you should decide. Your stomach decides, and you should take sufficient food every time. Then only all your saptadhasus and energy, everything will be all right. And wrongly, people are following dieting, which is very wrong according to Ayurveda also. As you said, you should take sufficient quantity to increase the strength in the body. So thank you, Archana madam.
Sir, one small question, sir, from me.
Yeah, you can ask a big question, Ashok. Why small question?
Sure.
Sir, generally in India, we are shortage of food grains are there. Sir, suppose we cook rice in the evening and the small amount of rice is remaining. So can we eat it in the morning, early morning? Is there any?
Good question.
Sir, not by keeping.
Not only that, they actually, Archana madam should answer beautifully. We will give her chance later. Now I want to tell you, this we call it as Sadhi Annam. Sadhi Annam will help you with the curd if you take early in the morning. It will reduce any stomach acidity in the stomach, and it will, but it will have some tamoguna. If you have satoguna, rajoguna, all equally proportion, then your tamoguna will not increase. This will help you in prevention of ulcers in the stomach. Definitely, I have been saying for 35 years. People who are taking Sadhi Annam, they are not having stomach ulcers at all. It is my observation. People who are taking coffee in the morning, they are getting ulcers in the stomach. So your observation, your food, Sadhi Annam, you can take with buttermilk or curd. It is excellent for health.
Okay,
Archana madam can tell about the guna, tamo guna like that.
Daily food should not be taken as per Ayurveda because it increases Vata dosha in our body. It increases Pitta dosha in our body and creates acidity in our body. So rightly said by Dr. Sudhakar Reddy sir that it should be taken with some curd or buttermilk. Then only it will be helpful.
Yes.
And it definitely increases tamoguna in our body. So it should not be actually consumed. Paryushitanna it is called as according to Ayurveda. So if one wants sattvic type of regime, then he should not eat the daily food.
Yeah.
Yes, is there anyone or?
Sir, I have one question for Sudhakar Reddy, sir.
Yes.
Sir, thank you for very nice explanation, sir. My question is like, sir, I have heard somewhere in the past, like the food has been divided based on the way people are working, sir.
Yes.
So I'll tell you, people who are dominant of mind, people who are dominant of heart, and people who are dominant of feet, sir. People who used to work with their mind, they require more protein. People who work with the heart, they require more fat. People who work with feet, they require more carbohydrates, sir.
Okay.
Based on that logic, the food habits have been divided, but unfortunately it has mixed, and people are taking as a mix. Because of that, the problems arise. That is my personal opinion, sir. I heard somewhere, sir.
Good, very good. I will tell you what I know. People who are working on the fields under the sun, they must take Sadhi Annam in the morning. They will never get any problem in the stomach. If they take coffee and go for fields, they will definitely get ulcers in the stomach. And as you said, they are working with the feet. They should take more carbohydrate diet. They should take proteins also and fat also. And they should take, the Archana madam said, sufficient quantity. Unfortunately, my observation is people who are working hard under the sun, they are not getting sufficient food. But people who are working, not working in the AC rooms, and they are getting more food and they are dying because of overeating. So that imbalance is there. So as you said, for brain workers, proteins are necessary, but glucose is more important and fat also important. Three are important.
Yes.
First glucose, afterwards proteins and fat for the brain workers. And Sadhyanam, if you take morning, you will become drowsy and you will not work properly in the office. So you should take morning Satvik Aharam and go for the office. The people who are agricultural laborers, they must take Sadhyanam, the curd, and go and work under the sun heat. And that is correct for them. It won't harm the stomach. And other people, they can take mixed diet. That means depending upon their work. Business people like that, they can take as they like. But ultimately, your own system will tell you what you should take. And agricultural laborers, I have interacted with them. They told me, sir, I will be happy only if you take Sadhyanam and go for the fields. If you take coffee and go there, that I cannot work. So your own body will tell you what you should eat. And by the nature of work you are doing, people working in the office, they will be comfortable by taking coffee and go for the office because the brain will be stimulated and they work well. Like that, every person, their own body will tell you what food you should eat. If you observe properly, it will definitely tell you correct way what you should eat. And all the things are necessary: carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, trace elements. Everything is important.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, this is Vanaja, sir. I have one question.
Madam.
Yeah. In the many women suffering with menopause, sir. In the menopause time, they are going in depression, some kind of anxiety. Many women facing this problem. Is there any connection with food, sir?
Oh, good question, madam. Actually, after 45 years, menopause will come to the women, and for same thing will come to the males also. It is called as andropause. Not for women only. Males also will have andropause. Menopause is nothing but reduction in production of estrogen in the body. And andropause is reduction in the production of androgens in the male body. So the lot of changes will occur, physiological, psychological changes will occur after menopause. Normally, their skin will become dry. They will have sweating, headaches, depression, and appetite also reduces, sleep reduces, and interest in the work reduces, like that. All these things can be overcome by counseling and by taking a proper psychological approach. And physical approach is by taking proper food, highly nutritious food, will definitely help them by improving their physical capacity in all these carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and all these nutrients should be there. And then their metabolism will increase, and at that time they will compensate with good food. And as you said, it is a normal all over the world. Every woman will have menopause, but some people react differently. Some people react differently, but ultimately we have to treat them by proper nutritious food is one best way to combat all these problems. And psychological problem also, it is not a real psychological problem because she compares with her previous life. She was beautiful, she was respected, good appetite, enjoying food, everything. Now all these things, beauty has come down, and then people are not respecting, and easy tiresomeness. Because of these things, they get reactive depression, not original depression. So by antidepressants, we can combat with them. So psychological problems, physical problems in menopause, all over the world, they are doing a lot of research. To some extent, we are able to solve their problems right now. So thank you, madam.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Sir, unmute, sir.
Any question? So,
Before, am I audible, sir?
yes, you are audible, sir.
Before vote of thanks, one more, there are 3-4 more number of doubts are there, but due to paucity of time, only one question I would like to clarify from you, Sir Sudhakar Reddy Garu. You see, as soon as, since 1.5 years, we are suffering with the corona. We were isolated. We were actually like, as if we made a mistake and we were forced to be in the house. So, and moreover, every day, many videos are just floated, and it is being observed by our own family people, particularly women, wives who are cooking the food also. And you take this food and you take this food, you know, so-and-so doctor has said, so-and-so virologist has said, these are all, they are rubbing on almost so many people like that, you know, Mantra Satyanarayana, he is another gentleman. And like that, so many Mantra Satyanarayana are being evolved in Andhra Pradesh now after Corona. Sir, then we being psychologists, we used to solve many problems even at home and our society. But here main problem, well, now we are experiencing in our house itself, sir. This is another major problem. You see, you take, this is the video we have seen. These are the, I mean, switching over to cereals. Switching over to, I think you might have seen. Now, we were just, it is for your good health only. It is for your good health only. They are keeping aside our food items are different. We were habituated. Now we are looking into all these videos and they are rubbing on each family, sir. So will it affects or will it helps? Please tell me, sir.
Very good question, sir. I'm glad you asked this question. And actually, sir, some research went on in the National Institute of Nutrition, Hyderabad, and I have interacted with them. They told beautifully, sir, everybody should take food since childhood. By what food habits he was habituated, the system is accustomed to that food habit, and that alone helps him to increase his energy, everything. He should not switch over to the new food habits because by seeing in the WhatsApp or TV different items and they see every day and tempted to prepare and eat, but your system will not accept it because it's not habituated. So since childhood, what food you are habituated, that alone is amrutam for you. It will help you. New experiments, new types of food will not be accepted by your system. And second observation is, the people who are living in different areas in India, and that area, what food is available, that suits best to that person. Suppose in north in one area, some food suits him, and in south in some area, in that area, what is available, fruits or anything, rice or anything, the available food in that area where he is born and all around what is available, naturally, that suits him best and gives him energy. So these two observations are made. And since ancient times also, this observation was told by one eminent speaker. I heard this statement: where you are living, the food available around you only will help you. Don't go for new types of food imported from China, imported from America, like that. Don't go for them. They won't help you. That is one observation. Second observation is what you are habituated since childhood, that food only helps you. So don't get tempted by your WhatsApp, cooking preparations, and even TV also. So don't get tempted and don't go for such foods, not necessary.
Yeah, but nowadays, this is a new trend and it leads to domestic violence in between couples now. Now again, the case comes to us and we being psychologists, we are supposed to solve that problem also. This is a new trend. Particularly we are observing. Okay, sir. So kind of, so you have just clarified many doubts.
One last question, sir, from a participant.
Please.
Okay.
She asked what type of food to be taken during PCOD.
Oh, PCOD. Okay, okay, okay.
One madam asked.
Okay, okay, good question. PCOD is polycystic ovarian disease. This is many times, 90% of the times, it is psychosomatic. People who are having more stress, either in job or in family, before marriage, even after marriage, they'll get PCOD, polycystic ovarian disease. And actually, there is no definite, you should take this food only, that food only. Whatever she likes, she can take. Food restriction is not there for PCOD. Most important thing, she should be happy. She should lifestyle, she should adjust in such a way, she should be happy every day. Then PCOD will come down, not by your food. You can take any food you like, which you are habituated to. Food has no direct relation to the PCOD. Your mind has direct relation to PCOD. So please have, whatever you do, you plan yourself, change your lifestyle so that you will be happy every moment in life. Your PCOD will come down, apart from the drugs from the allopathy.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Sir, Sudhakar Reddy garu. Last question.
Yes, sir.
You see, many couples, they are fighting each other, quarreling each other, and they are going to the police station and they are lodging a complaint, and in turn the case is being directed by the police people towards a psychologist like me. What I observed, gradually the divorce rate is being generalized to not only from middle class people, it is also generalized to now even to the class 4 level families also. This is a recent trend. Gradually, day by day, years to year by year, the divorce rate is being increased. And you said tamoguna, sattva is there any link those gunas with the divorce rate? Can you please?
Yeah, good question. I will take the help of Archana madam also. I will tell you what I know. Actually, I have been observing divorce rate for the past 10 years. It is increasing. I heard there is 30% of marriages divorcing now. 30%. I really wondered. And what people say the reason is simple psychological ego problems between the boy and the girl. They will have ego problems. If the boy shouts at the girl, she will not take it. Same way, if the girl shouts at the boy, she will not take it. And their plan of work also, if anybody tries to dominate the boy or girl, they won't accept it. So that is one reason they told me. And second reason is what they told me, particularly in the software engineers, they are fed up with their lifestyle. They are with the computers all the time. They come home tired. They have no time to share happy feelings with the wife or wife with the husband. And next morning they go for the work. It is like a mechanical life. So they are fed up with the mechanical life. So they decide they want to part away. That is one reason they told me. And third thing is, parents of the boy or the girl, they are causing divorce. If they don't like, that means they quarrel each other, like boy's parents or the girl's parents. If they quarrel each other, and it will end up with divorce, though the boy and girl want to live together. This I have observed. Third reason. So there are many reasons for divorce, sir. And as a psychologist, you know better than me. But food habits, I think I have not heard so far. Food habits may influence divorce. I think as psychologist, you have to tell. Archana madam may tell. Please, Archana madam. Archana madam.
Yes, sir.
Any sattvic diet, rajasic diet, and tamasic diet.
As you rightly said that divorces are because of the tamoguna, and food directly impacts our mind also. So the young generation, which is very much under stress, they are working. If husband and wife both are working, they are working under the stress, And
Yeah.
because of the tiredness, when they come home, many times they do not cook food. They brought the food from hotels, and the food, junk food mainly they eat. This type of food again raises the tamoguna in our body, and
Oh.
that might be helping the to boost the ego, we can say, or they cannot how the sattvic guna, because of the sattvic ahara, our tolerance level increases, but because of
Oh.
tamasic ahara, our tolerance level is also decreased.
Mm.
Many times these food habits may be the reason,
Mm.
because sattva guna increases our tolerance.
Yes, madam.
As you rightly said, parents are again indulged with the children more, and they are nourishing their children's ego,
Oh, yes,
helping
madam.
the helping the divorce conditions. So that
Yes.
can be a reason.
Yes.
Indirectly, food is also the factor over there, and the family is also one of the factor, we can say.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
madam.
okay, at the outset, today's speakers, I should, as a president of World Congress of Psychologists, today's three speakers, they have spoken so nicely, particularly Sunita Devi, madam, just has given a good note, and as far as diet is concerned. So Sunita madam, we are really thankful to you. On behalf of WCOP and my personal behalf, I am thanking you. And Madam Professor Archana Sarath Nikam from Bombay, Nagpur. Madam, really, we really enjoyed with your talk as far as this basic levels of your Ayurveda is concerned. Really, we got today, all our, including myself, all our participants also got benefited a lot through your lecture. So thank you very much, madam, from my side. Now I hear third speaker is also our WCOP core committee member, Professor Sudhakar Reddy Garu, and he also gave very crystal clear principles. These are all the principles we should keep in our mind, particularly after food, 20 minutes exercise, and taking so many types of coffee, so many types of tea, all simple, though it appears to be simple, but these are all really, it affects our health problems also. So we are really today, of all these sessions, all these days, today we enjoyed this session, particularly we being educated professors and this, that, we were not that we will be knowing everything. And here our WCOP is fortunate to have, and all people, all from all professionals, those who have studied from distance education of our Venkateswara University, and through those eminent people, we are learning new things which are quite helpful for our daily life. So Sudhakar Reddy Garu, thank you, hats up to you. And today's speakers, really three speakers spoken on the topics, respective topics so nicely. Now I request our Sanjeev Kumar, please give a very brief vote of thanks, Sanjeev Kumar.
Thank you so much, sir. Very good evening, all the members. I'm Talar Sanjeev Kumar on behalf of World Congress of Psychologists and the entire team. On my personal behalf, I extend vote of thanks to all the speakers for their extraordinary work and sharing with us your findings and opinions today. Really, it was a marathon discussion today, and very helpful also. Firstly, I'd like to thank Professor Sunita Devi, dietitian, SWIMS Tirupati, for her efforts towards today's topic, role of psychologists, food habits. Few important ideas from her speech today are importance of balanced diet and impact of imbalanced food on health. Very well explained the importance of millets, cereals, dairy products, fruits and vegetables. And I must mention my deep sense of thanks for Professor Archana ma'am, Government Ayurveda College, Nagpur, for her best clarification of today's topic. Explained the need of maintaining equilibrium of Vata, Kapha, Pitta for being healthy, different qualities of healthy person and a sick person. Explained three basic things of healthy life or food, sleep, and brahmacharya, and role of food in keeping healthy mind. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I would like to thank Dr. A. Sudhakar Reddy sir for his energetic talk today. And he is a neurosurgeon from SV Medical College, Tirupati. And I thank you very much for your fantastic and lengthy explanation of today's topic, sir. And few opinions from his talk are explain the importance of taking bath before taking food and sitting on floor and eating, respecting the food by being silent and enjoying the food, and very well explained the need of avoid talking or shouting with examples of Dr. B.C. Roy and a few friends, not drinking too much water while eating, sequence of food items to stabilize gastric effect in the stomach, starting from chutney to buttermilk, and few many more. As time constraint, I could not put everything. And thank you so much, sir. Finally, you quoted a very fantastic from Gita, and what explains he who is temperate in his habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. And I'd like to extend my hearty thanks to Professor B.G. Reddy sir for his active organizing and coordinating the webinar. Thank you, sir. I also extend my thanks to Dr. Anupama, Dr. Ashok, Dr. Sandhya, Vanajasri ma'am for their cooperation and supporting role in the organization of this event. To finish, I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. Vimala, Dr. A.R. Krishnamurthy sir, Dr. A. Sudhakar Reddy sir, and all other participants for their valuable presence and valuable contribution. Wish you a good luck and stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, finally, I thank today's organizers, Anupama, just Dr. Sandhya, Dr. Vanaja, and Dr. Sanjeev Kumar for their just highly coordinating for the grand success of this today's webinar, including Dr. Ashok. So thank you, one and all. Good night. See you on 5th. We are starting the workshops on 5th. Right. So kind of a good night.
Good night, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.